I paid $100,000 for her master's degree, and when I talked about having kids, my ex-girlfriend rejected me in front of her friends, saying they would be too ugly. So I canceled everything and moved out. When she came crying, looking for forgiveness, I just told her, "Don't worry, my savings account won't suffer as much as your future without my money. Let's toast to my future husband, who paid for my entire master's degree." Eunice raised her glass at the graduation party. $100,000, my entire emergency savings fund, but it was worth it for her. Her friends applauded. I smiled proudly. "Now that you're done, when are the kids coming?" her best friend asked. Eunice laughed so hard she spat out her wine. "Kids? God, haven't you seen his face? I can't risk having ugly children." The silence was deafening. Everyone was looking at me. "I'm serious," she continued. "His genes are terrible. Imagine inheriting that nose and those beady little eyes." I felt like my soul had been ripped out. One of her friends, a guy who looked like a cheap soap opera hunk, stepped forward with a cynical smile. "Hey, if that's the problem, I can help." He winked at Eunice. She touched his arm. An interesting proposal." My hands trembled. The glass slipped from my grasp and shattered on the floor. "Oops, how clumsy," someone muttered. I walked out of the party on autopilot. $100,000 and 8 years of my life for this. The drive home was silent. She was texting, laughing quietly at her phone. I drove mechanically. "Are you okay?" "I was just kidding, you know," she said without looking up from the screen. "Don't take it so seriously." "Sure." We arrived at the apartment. She went straight to the bathroom. I sat on the sofa without even taking off my shoes. When she came out, she kissed my forehead as if nothing had happened. "I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed." "Wait," I said. "We need to talk about what happened." She stopped dead in her tracks. "Seriously? Now?" "Yes. Now. What you said in front of everyone. And why you played along with your friend when he said he'd do you the favor. Oh, please." She rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting." "I'd been drinking." "Yes, but you always get like this." "Get like what?" "Insecure. Dramatic. It's not my fault you can't take a joke." It felt like she had slapped me. "A joke? You said my genes are defective." It was just girl talk. You don't understand that kind of humor. And your friend offering himself up. That was another joke. God, you're so dense sometimes. She crossed her arms. You always turn everything into a drama. That's why my friends think you're controlling. I'm not, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. She grabbed a bag and started stuffing clothes into it. I'm going to stay with my sister for a few days. I can't stand your tantrums. They're not tantrums. I just want us to talk. There's nothing to talk about. The problem isn't what I said, it's your insecurity. She looked at me with contempt. Maybe when you grow up, we can have an adult conversation. She left, slamming the door behind her. The silence hit me like a physical blow. I couldn't sleep. The thoughts turned to venom in my head. 8 years. 8 damned years. I sacrificed everything for her. I dropped out of college, put my own future on hold. Even when we had to deal with a miscarriage, I was there, working like an idiot so she could study. After I graduate, it'll be your turn, love, she'd said. All lies. Now I have my own electrical installation company. 3 major contracts. I'm doing better than ever. And for what? For her to tell me my genes are defective. To humiliate me like that. I stared at the ceiling all night. I woke up around noon to my phone vibrating 10 missed calls, all from her. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe she'd thought it over and regretted it. You don't just erase 8 years overnight, right? I answered when she called again. Thank God, she said, breathless. I need you to make an urgent transfer. My friends and I are going on a celebratory trip to Cancun. It's $5,000. My breath caught in my throat. Not a hint of apology. She just wanted more money. Seriously? I managed to say. You don't have, is this because of what happened? She cut in. Now you're going to hold money over my head like you always do when you're mad at me. I hung up without another word. In 8 years, I had never once denied her money. There was no longer any doubt about who she really was. The next day, she returned with her keys as if nothing had happened. Hi, love, she said, kissing my cheek. Is your little tantrum over? Hi, I replied, my voice as normal as I could make it. For the next few days, I acted like everything was fine. I kissed her when she left. I asked about her plans for the day. I cooked for us both. But inside, something had broken forever. I watched her, the way she checked her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, how she dodged the subject whenever I mentioned future plans, the way she suddenly had so many meetings with friends in the evenings. One night, while she slept, I lay awake thinking. 8 years together, and I'd never questioned anything. Her expenses that never matched the money I gave her. Her girls' nights out that lasted all night. How she always had an excuse when I wanted to be intimate. The next day, I decided to look at our shared accounts more closely. Mistake. A grave mistake. I opened my banking app, and there it was, the brutal truth. Multiple transfers over the last few months, $8,500, $12,000, $15,800, $9,200. Our joint savings account, the other $50,000 all gone. A total of $70,000 had vanished. I couldn't breathe. I kept scrolling through the notifications. There was more. Bank emails I'd been ignoring for weeks, thinking they were ads. I opened them one by one. Congratulations on your new credit card approval. Statement, balance due $5,847. Statement, balance due $12,330. Statement, balance due $1,650. I called the bank immediately, my hands sweating. Excuse me, I think there's a mistake. I didn't apply for any credit card. Let me check, sir. No, the application was made online 3 weeks ago with all your personal information and bank account as backup. It even has your digital signature. The current balance is $20,000. That's impossible. I didn't. But I already knew the answer. She had access to everything. My computer, my information, my passwords. I hung up without a word. $70,000 stolen, a $20,000 debt. My entire life savings. I was alone in the house. She'd left early, saying she had things to do to prepare for the Cancun trip. I called her immediately. What's up, love? You better not come to the apartment. This is over. What? What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't you dare set foot in here. I hung up before she could respond. I called a locksmith to change the locks. I'll be there in an hour, he said. First, I changed all my passwords, bank, email, social media, everything. Then I called the bank to revoke her authorized access to all accounts. Then I called about the credit card. I want to report unauthorized activity on a card in my name. Do you have the card in your possession, sir? No, I never received it. I understand. We will proceed to cancel it immediately and investigate the charges. While I was organizing screenshots of the transfers and statements, the doorbell rang. It wasn't the locksmith. It was the police. What? There must be some mistake. I never. We need you to come with us to clarify a situation. At the station, they sat me in a cold room with a metal table. A detective placed a folder in front of me. Before we begin, we want to show you something. He opened the folder and took out several photographs. Can you explain this? My blood ran cold. Bruises on an arm, marks on a neck, a swollen lip. That's not. I would never do that to anyone. These are photos of the victim who claims you were the aggressor. No, that's impossible. I would never. I was speechless. Ask the neighbors. I never did that. If something like that had happened, someone would have heard. We live in an apartment building. The walls are thin. Do you recognize these bruises? No, because I didn't cause them. My voice trembled. I don't know where she got those photos, but I have never laid a hand on her. After 3 hours of questioning, they let me go. There wasn't enough evidence to arrest me, but they warned me the investigation was still open and that I was not to go near her. When I got back, she was there. Not alone. She'd brought witnesses, her sister, her best friend, the hunk from the party. Please, just let me get my things in peace, she sobbed for the audience. I don't want any trouble. She played the part of the perfect victim. I was the abusive monster. I stayed silent, knowing any word I said would be twisted in front of her witnesses. When she finished packing, she approached me while the others were loading boxes into the car. Her voice changed completely, becoming cold and calculated. It was nice while it lasted, but you're no use to me anymore. She smiled at me with a cruelty I'd never seen before. Thanks for everything, ATM. She turned and left as if nothing had happened. Her witnesses glared at me with contempt before following her. Something changed in that moment. It wasn't just the public humiliation, not just the $70,000 stolen, not just the false accusation that almost sent me to jail. It was the brutal realization that everything had been a lie. 8 years of my life reduced to a bank transaction. The hot rage cooled into something much more dangerous, absolute clarity. The first step was to protect myself legally. I called a lawyer specializing in financial fraud and explained the situation. The unauthorized transfers, the fraudulent credit card, the false domestic violence report. And the domestic violence case is still open, I added. The police warned me not to approach her. This is going to be complicated, he said. She had authorized access to the accounts, so we need to prove the transfers were made without your specific knowledge. And as long as the domestic violence case is open, any move we make has to be extremely careful. Do you have any communication that proves she concealed these actions? I had nothing. Yet. Over the next few weeks, while waiting for news from the police investigation, she wrote to me several times. I hope you're okay. I didn't want us to end like this. We can talk like adults. I didn't respond, but something bothered me. There were too many unanswered questions. Where did those real bruises come from? Why had she been so cruel at the end? How could she have planned all this so calculatingly? One night, while going through our shared iPad to look for any evidence that could help the case, I found her WhatsApp web still logged in. For the first time in 8 years, I dared to look at her conversations. It was all there. A group chat I didn't recognize. The messages hit me like hammer blows. My personal ATM has no idea. LOL, hahaha, did you get everything out yet? Obviously. The idiot even signed me on as an authorized user on his accounts. I kept reading, in disbelief. There were names I didn't recognize, references to someone named Leo, plans that stretched back for months. Faked being sick last night so I wouldn't have to touch my personal ATM, LMAO, so gross. How do you stand it? I close my eyes and think of Leo. Only 2 months until I graduate and ditch him. Leo. Who the hell was Leo? I screenshotted every conversation. This was what my lawyer needed. The bank called a few days later. "Sir, we've reviewed your case. The transfers are being investigated, but the process could take several months. We need you to provide any additional evidence you have." I immediately called my lawyer and sent him the screenshots. "This is interesting," he said after reviewing them. "But we have a problem. These messages were obtained without her authorization. Depending on how the domestic violence case proceeds, this could be problematic in court. However, it gives us a clear direction for investigation." "What does that mean?" "It means we know what to look for, but we need to find legally admissible evidence. This shows fraudulent intent, but we need to build a stronger case. Now we need to identify this Leo and understand the full scope of the conspiracy." I had work to do. The next few days were pure investigation. My lawyer was right. I needed to identify Leo and build a solid case. The messages had given me his name, but I needed more. With the info from the chats, I remembered something. She always mentioned her favorite professor when talking about the university. Now I knew why. I checked the university's website. In the literature department was Dr. Leonardo Giuliani, a professor of contemporary literature. Just basic information. I searched for more on social media. His Facebook and Instagram were private. But I remembered that in one of the chats, a friend had mentioned seeing Leo at university events. I searched the university's news and events section, photos from conferences, graduations, academic galas. After an hour of scrolling, there he was, in a group photo from a literature conference last year. But it was student reviews on university forums that told another story, vague but consistent comments about favoritism, private meetings, and warnings to be careful around him. A pattern that stretched back years. That same week, she wrote to me again. This time, the tone had changed. "I know you're hurt, but this doesn't have to be so complicated. For $50,000, I can withdraw the domestic violence complaint and we can settle this like adults. Think about it. Your reputation, your business. Everything can go back to normal." There it was. Pure, unadulterated extortion in a text message. I immediately saved the screenshot and sent it to my lawyer. "This is gold," he said over the phone. "You just got evidence of extortion. This completely destroys her credibility in any case." But there was more. "Think about it," he continued. "Would a real victim of domestic violence sell their safety for money? That's not what victims do. That's what extortionists do." His voice grew more intense. "This opens her up to a civil lawsuit for defamation. We're potentially looking at hundreds of thousands in punitive damages. And the domestic violence case? Once we present this, the prosecutor's office will review it immediately. No prosecutor wants to pursue a case where the victim is a proven extortionist." For the first time in weeks, I genuinely smiled. 2 days later, another message arrived. "The offer still stands. $50,000 and this all goes away. But if you keep being stubborn, things are going to get much worse for you." Another screenshot for the file. My lawyer called that afternoon. "I've already submitted the extortion evidence to the prosecutor," he said. "The domestic violence charges against you were dropped this morning. You are officially, completely in the clear." For the first time in months, I could truly breathe. So now what? Now we focus on the civil suit. Defamation, emotional distress, financial losses, and fraud. With the extortion evidence, we have a rock-solid case for massive punitive damages. But something was still eating at me. "It's not enough," I told him. "The charges were dropped, but people already heard. My neighbors, my clients. Everyone thinks I'm an abuser. As long as she walks free, my reputation is ruined." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want everyone to know exactly what kind of person she is. I don't just want to win. I want her name to become synonymous with liar and scammer. I understand the motivation, but we have to be strategic. First, we win the civil case and get your money back. Then, we can think about how to publicly clear your name. So, tell me, I said. What's the plan? It was the first piece of truly good news in weeks, but it left me with a thirst for a deeper kind of justice. That night, an idea gnawed at me. I'd lived with her for 8 years, but did I really know her? The iPad messages had revealed a conspiracy, but I needed physical evidence, something I could use in court without legal issues. I started methodically searching the apartment. Behind furniture, between mattresses, inside old pillowcases. I took the bed apart completely. 3 hours later, with the apartment in chaos, I sat on the floor, frustrated. Nothing. Then I remembered something. She had always been obsessive about hiding things. At her family's house, she had a secret spot behind a baseboard in her room. I got on my knees and started checking every baseboard. In the closet, behind the clothes rod, a section of the baseboard was slightly loose. I pushed it inward, and it gave way. There it was. An old diary wrapped in a plastic bag, along with letters and photos I had never seen. The first pages were normal university routine, but as I read on, the lies became more elaborate, more cruel. Leo says my little boyfriend will never find out. He's too stupid. Faked being sick again today. That's 5 times this month. The idiot brought me soup and medicine. Meanwhile, Leo and I. My personal ATM paid another $5,000 in tuition. He has no idea I skipped half my classes to be with Leo. The miscarriage was the best thing that could have happened. Leo says a child would have complicated everything. Even though the idiot thinks it was his, it's better it wasn't born. It wasn't his anyway. Page after page of betrayal stretching back years. It wasn't just infidelity. It was a complete system of lies where I had been reduced to a means of financing her double life. The photos confirmed everything. Her with Leonardo at restaurants I had paid for. Trips she told me were with friends. Even photos in his office in positions that left no doubt about the nature of their relationship. I called my lawyer immediately, my hands shaking. We have everything, I told him. Physical proof of the relationship, written admissions of fraud, and proof that the miscarriage that hurt me so much wasn't even mine. My God, he murmured as I described the contents. This goes beyond what we expected. And what about Leonardo and the university? That's where it gets interesting. With the diary, we have proof of academic abuse and an inappropriate professor-student relationship. If she already has a position secured at that university, as I suspect, this is going to be devastating for them both. What do you recommend? First, we win the civil suit. Then, we can make this public. University forums, social media, reports to academic bodies. His smile was cold. Once it's legally documented, they won't be able to hide. Their names will be permanently marked in Google searches. No respectable university will touch them. The revenge wasn't just going to be against her, it was going to be against the entire system that allowed this to happen. I meticulously documented everything, every page photographed, every photo scanned. I organized a complete file with dates, locations, and a detailed timeline of the entire deception. Then, I met with my lawyer to finalize the strategy. Once we have a favorable judgment, we execute a coordinated public exposure. The university will have to act. That night, for the first time in months, I slept soundly. I didn't just have a plan, I had a complete arsenal of evidence and the patience to use it correctly. The next day, things started moving, but this time, I controlled every move. I was no longer the naive victim who'd paid $100,000 for a master's degree without question. I had become something more dangerous, someone who understood exactly how the system worked and how to use it to destroy those who had betrayed me. Her perfect world was about to collapse, and I was going to enjoy every second of it. The lawsuit was filed on a Tuesday morning. That afternoon, my lawyer called, euphoric. It's in the system. She'll be officially served this Friday. Perfect. Friday came faster than expected. Eunice showed up in court with a lawyer she had clearly hired at the last minute. She looked pale, haggard. For the first time in 8 years, she wasn't in control. Her lawyer attempted a pathetic defense. My client had authorized access to the accounts. They were a de facto couple. My lawyer destroyed him with the extortion messages. Your client tried to blackmail my client for $50,000 to drop a false domestic violence complaint. Was that also part of their cohabitation? The judge reviewed the evidence with an increasingly severe expression. The screenshots from the diary, the WhatsApp messages where she called me her personal ATM. Ms. Herrera, the judge said, do you confirm you wrote this? The idiot even signed me on as an authorized user on his accounts. She could barely whisper, yes. And this, my personal ATM has no idea. LOL. Yes. And that you sent messages to the victim asking for $50,000 to withdraw a criminal complaint? Her lawyer intervened. Your Honor, my client was emotionally distraught, counselor. The judge cut him off. Your client meticulously documented a $70,000 fraud and then tried to extort the victim. This isn't emotional distress, this is criminal conduct. The verdict was devastating. $180,000 in compensatory and punitive damages, all the stolen money, plus triple that for emotional distress, defamation, and malicious use of the legal system. Eunice collapsed when she heard the figure. $180,000 she didn't have, would never have. 30 days for the first payment, the judge ruled, or we will proceed with asset seizure and wage garnishment. But I had my own plans for afterward. The lawsuit had recovered my money. What I was about to do would destroy their reputations forever. That night, I prepared everything meticulously. I published it all simultaneously, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a TikTok video of me reading the most devastating pages of the diary. It went viral. The comments were brutal. My God, what kind of person does this? The professor should lose his job immediately. This is disgusting. She's a sociopath. Look how she planned everything. But the best part came next. Students started tagging the university's official account. At University XXX, are you going to do something about Dr. Leonardo Giuliani? This is your university. This is your professor. This is the kind of education you offer. By Wednesday morning, local media had picked up the story. On Thursday, the university issued its first statement. The university is aware of the allegations circulating on social media against a member of our faculty. We have initiated an immediate formal investigation. During this process, the professor in question has been suspended from all academic duties. The real blow came when a former student posted her own story about Leonardo from 3 years prior with the same pattern. Then another, and another. It wasn't just my case. The investigation lasted exactly 2 weeks. The second statement was devastating. After completing our investigation, the university has determined that there were serious violations of our Code of Academic and Professional Conduct. Effective immediately, Dr. Giuliani has been terminated from his position. Additionally, the institution will review the case of Eunice Herrera and take appropriate action. Game over. Eunice tried desperately to do damage control, deleting all her social media, but it was too late. Her last post before disappearing was pathetic. People don't know the whole story. There are 2 sides to everything. The comments destroyed her. What's your side? There's no justification for this. You were already condemned legally. Just shut your trap. Leonardo tried a different strategy, posting a statement denying everything, calling it defamation from a bitter ex-boyfriend. It was his final mistake. I immediately posted the audio where he himself admitted to the relationship. His post received over 5,000 comments, each one more brutal than the last. Your own voice condemns you, idiot. You already lost your job. Accept defeat. By the end of the week, both had completely vanished from social media. But the internet is forever. Every time someone Googled their names, my story would appear on the first page. Mission accomplished. I didn't need to confront them. I just let the truth speak for itself. It's been 8 months since the verdict. Eunice religiously makes the restitution payments. Every month, a check for $850 arrives, all she can afford after taxes, working 2 minimum wage jobs. It will take her 17 years to pay me back in full, if she doesn't declare bankruptcy. Leonardo's academic career is over forever. His wife divorced him and took the house. He lives in a one-room studio apartment. Most satisfying of all, they still hate each other. She blames him for ruining her future, he blames her for seducing him and destroying his career. My business didn't just recover, it exploded. The publicity from the case brought me more clients than I could handle. I hired 3 new employees. 2 months ago, I enrolled in a night program to get my degree in electrical engineering. That promise she had made, after I graduate, it'll be your turn, I'm fulfilling it myself, with my own money. Last week, I received an email from an anonymous account. It was a pathetic, 15-paragraph plea from Eunice, full of excuses, blaming alcohol, Leonardo, and social pressure for everything she did. It ended with her begging for forgiveness and a second chance. I marked it as spam without replying. Last night, I was reviewing the blueprints for a new project when I realized something. I don't think about her every day anymore. I no longer obsessively check my phone for extortion messages. I no longer feel that cold rage that was my companion for months. The anger is gone. The pain is gone. All that's left is peace.